Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Refined Real Estate Podcast. It's Janelle, and I'm here with Ian and Manny. We are real estate investors in Halifax. Combined, we've done over 40 units. We've flipped houses, we've wholesaled, we've hosted meetups, we've done a ton more. But yeah, so before we get into today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please be kind and give us a 5-star rating, and we really appreciate it. But yeah, so in today's episode, we are going to be talking about deal finding.
So I guess I could start with some of the ways that I guess the very first way I found a deal is start it by looking at deals on the MLS. So it's a place where a lot of people will go to start to find deals, and it's a lot of people where they'll end to find deals. And those are the people that are typically sitting on the sidelines, scrolling Viewpoint at night and having trouble finding anything that even remotely works. And then those people will sometimes pull the trigger. And 2 years ago, they would look smart for doing so because everything was going up crazy in value and life was good. But now, during uncertain times in the market and just all the weird stuff you have going on in the market, it's hard still to buy deals on the MLS, but you're having more of an opportunity with that. So yeah, first deal I just bought it about six years ago or so, and with that, it's just the whole market's gone so up so much in that it worked. But
And how did you
since
find that
that,
deal? Was that on the MLS or was that off market?
So that was on MLS. It was more like the traditional way of buying a home. Had a realtor at the time that was looking for deals for me and found it. And the reason that one worked out so well for me because I was specifically looking for something on the peninsula with R2 zoning, so I could add a second unit to it and was able to pull that off. So the whole deal worked. But now with again the state of the real estate market around here, it's still very challenging to find something that works on the MLS unless you have that ability to do quite a large value add. So again, going back, it worked for me at the time, but with changing markets comes changing strategies. And ever since that house, yeah, every other transaction that I've done has been off market.
I was just going to touch on the off market thing. I think we talked about it on the very first episode, how Janelle, you were really the first one to really put me on the off market mail campaign game. And I never turned back ever since. And that's a little bit more of an advanced way of finding off market deals because you need to be able to source their mailing addresses. So how are you going to do that? So if you can figure out how to do that, that is a very strong way to find, especially the multifamily space where we predominantly are in. That's my favorite way, especially locally in Nova Scotia.
And I think just to talk about, like, there's so many different ways to find deals, and you can cater it towards like the market that you're in. But in terms of find, like, I guess the first strategy is the direct mail campaign, which if you haven't heard about it, it's basically it's literally just sending a letter to the homeowner, finding their contact details, whether that is at their physical address or maybe they have a different mailing address. But yeah, just sending a ideally like a personalized letter out to them and say, hey, like, I'm really interested in buying your home. This is a little bit about me. I've seen a lot of different letters. I've seen a lot of different examples out there. Some of them are super short. Some of them are a lot more detailed and why they're buying homes and how they're buying off market and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, that's been a great technique. And I think what Manny said, like, it can be a very advanced technique. You can really scale that system up. And that's what Ian and I have done in the past. And you can build some like huge databases. You can really personalize that letter. You can do some A/B testing on that, and then you can do some more digging and find out, people who might not live in the house if they live elsewhere. But yeah, in terms of that, you can also keep it simple. Like, you could literally just be walking down the street and you say like, hey, like, that's a house that I really want to buy in the area that I'm in. Maybe it's a distressed house and it's good for a house flip. Maybe you just go home and write a quick little note. So it's like, hey, my name's Janelle. I live in the neighborhood. I really want to have a chat with you about possibly buying your house. And man, you could just write that out and stick it in an envelope, maybe put a return address on it and stick it in their mailbox. Like, I think some people think about direct mail and they think it has to be this huge, like, monstrous system, but like that's direct mail technically.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And
Um,
like the go ahead, Ian.
yeah, and I was just about to say, so that goes into one of the other techniques that we do to start the mail campaigns, and that's kind of where things got off the ground for us, with especially when Janelle and I started out, was actually identifying these properties, and we did that through a method that's popularly known as driving for dollars. And with that, it's as simple as it sounds. It's you hop in the car and you drive around your target markets, and as you find houses that have some sign or some sign of distress to them, whether it's the house itself looks like it's maybe fallen down a little bit. There's a lot of grass in the yard that's unkept, boarded up windows, anything that leads you to believe that, hey, maybe these people would be willing to sell below market value. So you could actually realize the upside when you go in, do the renovations and all that stuff. Or if you're like, this house here is in that R2 zoned area. It looks like it has a basement where I could add a suite. So you just go through and you create this list of properties that falls under that category, and then that's where you send your direct mail campaigns to. So that's the driving for dollars strategy.
And I think this is also to clarify, I think anyone who is listening to this podcast is probably a real estate investor of some sort. So they're probably looking for a value add type of deal. Just to clarify that point, if maybe you're more of a turnkey investor, maybe finding that distressed property is not necessarily your intention, but I think between all of us, we would definitely recommend finding a property that has some sort of value add component to it, or a motivated seller aspect of it.
Absolutely.
Uh, Big time. That's where you'll get the best deals. That's where you make money on the buy is what they preach in real estate. And this is how you do it. Finding those distressed sellers and figuring out the upside on that property.
Yep.
And then, so we've got, just to kind of backtrack on this, we've got our direct mail campaign. We also have driving for dollars, and those kind of work hand in hand. You can drive for dollars, make a list, and then do a direct mail. Or I know people who've driven for dollars and then have just like door knocked. You can use the same kind of hand in hand strategies. And then we also have networking. I know, Ian, you actually were able to purchase property through like a referral in your network before.
Yeah, no, I've definitely done that, and it just goes for all of real estate investing, not just the deal finding side of it, but the more you're out there networking and stuff, the more you learn of other contractors. You learn of, hey, I have an in with this appraiser who does a really good work, or can help you move in the direction that you'd like to. Same with mortgage brokers, real estate agents, whatever it might be. The more networking you can do, the better. But then also just that, when people are aware of the space that you're in, and they're looking to either sell a property, or they're looking to sell that property to upgrade to another property. If you're constantly in that space, then that gives you an opportunity for people to reach out to you when they have a deal they want to sell.
So that property, like what were you doing during that time in your life to make yourself known to your network that you wanted to buy houses? Like what steps were you taking?
So still early. That one was mostly just posting a little bit on social media. We were just getting off the ground, really. We were starting to get well established. Our Instagram was doing quite a bit, and that's where they saw us. And then just say, it just led to the conversation. So we're not saying if you do social media you're going to get a lot of deals, but you're going to get more opportunities for deals. So that's really what helped us out there.
One of the groups I'm in, they make us do this thing called the 100 call challenge. So you just have to call 100 people in a week in the industry. So it can be realtors, mortgage brokers, different contractors, but like specifically kinds of contractors that would work in the buildings that you want to buy, junk removal guys, different property managers, and just compiling massive lists of these people and letting them know that you want to buy apartments. The more people that know that you want to buy these buildings, it just plants that seed in the back of their head, and offering them like a referral fee. Like if you bring me a deal that I close on, I'll give you $500, $1,000. The bigger the deal, $1,000. One time I bought a property off a guy. His family owned a bunch of real estate and they were just selling off everything. And I happened to just buy the very last one. But he told me he knows lots of guys that own real estate that are old and that they want to sell. So I'm like, yo, if you bring them to me, bring me those deals, you will get a referral fee. Now, this guy, he was very savvy. He said he wanted $1,000 per unit. So like if he brought me a 100 unit deal, he wanted 100 grand. But honestly, it's like if it's a good deal, what's 100 grand? It's just a part of the acquisition cost. But just creating those relationships, like you said, Ian, man, it's a contact sport, big time.
Exactly. And if you think about like your network, and if you're a real estate investor or wanting to become a real estate investor or just starting out, if you think about people in your area, your industry, the first people that come top of mind are probably the people who are on social media, who are talking about it all the time. They're doing real estate investing. I'm sure there's tons of people out there who are probably, like they have a 9 to 5 job and then they're doing real estate on the side and they're not really talking about it. They're not telling their friends about it. They're not posting about it on social media. And it's like, how are you going to find those people and tell them about a deal if you don't even know if they're looking? So I think it's good to think about how you're portraying yourself to like your network and your colleagues and your friends. And then, it only takes one. It only takes one person to reach out to you with a really, really good deal. And that will be like a game changing deal.
Yep, absolutely. Then another
Cool.
way
What
that
else do
I
we have?
actually, yeah, another way that I bought some two deals, I guess. So one was I actually had an ad posted on Kijiji. So I listened to a Bigger Pockets episode, and they were like, "Here's one actionable item you can do to get started, like right away." And it was just go to Kijiji or Craigslist in the States or whatever it is, Facebook Marketplace, same deal, and post an ad saying, "Hey, I buy distressed homes." You can word it however you want, but I actually had someone reach out to me. This was a few years ago, so this is pre crazy boom and all this stuff when the market wasn't quite as hot, but we're in a market cycle where some point again that we might see people that want to sell their homes that are a little bit more distressed or whatever it was. So the couple was actually told by one of their contractors that the house was not safe to live in and that they need to get out of there as soon as possible. Now I went in and said, hey, it's bad. It's not the end of the world bad, but they had their mind made up. They wanted to move, so I offered them, and this was just a house right on Arborough Lake in Dartmouth. I offered them 50 grand for it, and they came back, and we finally settled on selling at $62,000. And I just that to this day, I was like, that's the cheapest house I bought in HRM by far, and it was from posting a free Kijiji ad. So that's definitely a way that could work. Again, we're in a different market cycle now, but that is something that worked in the past for me. And again, that's just in Halifax. If you're listening from somewhere else in a smaller town, that might be the perfect thing to get you started. And then on the other
Yeah.
You
end of
couldn't
it,
even buy vacant land.
no, no, it's insane. But then the other end of it, Janelle and I, we actually purchased a flip where we saw it was on listed on Kijiji. So perusing those, like you honestly might have better luck scrolling through Kijiji looking for houses than looking through the MLS. And I know something that helped us out early on was you can actually set up alarms on Kijiji and I'm not sure if you can do it on Marketplace, but definitely on Kijiji where anytime there's a title that's, I want to sell my house for cash or I want to, or distressed home or sold for land value, or you can create a list where anytime anyone posts anything with that related to it, you get an alert on that. And that if you set up all these alerts, then the first time someone posts on Kijiji about something like this, you might have an opportunity to get in there and make a deal happen for you.
Yeah, early bird gets the worm on that one. I know we actually bought a flip. I think it was might have been like technically the first or second deal that you and I did together. Same thing. Like I started working with you, and you're like, yeah, yeah, Janelle, like go on Kijiji, look at buying houses private sale, and there's actually someone who posted older lady who just wanted to get rid of her house. It was in a pretty bad state, needed a lot of repairs. And then I think I had seen it was like posted that morning. It's like on Kijiji, posted 6 hours ago. And I didn't message, I called. Just called right away, got the scoop on it. But yeah, like sometimes, maybe like if you're looking for deals, every time coffee in the morning, sit down at your computer, go on Kijiji. Having that first response, like that's a big game changer. People don't really care as much when you're like the 10th person who's called, and it's like, the person's frustrated and they're like, I don't want to answer the phone anymore, like go away. But if you're that fresh, like first person, that can make a huge difference.
And then I guess Janelle, yeah, another one that you could probably speak better to is Catherine Street. How we got that one?
Oh yeah, so expired listings on Viewpoint. So this was 2021, I guess. Yeah, 2021. Late in 2021, market was pretty crazy, and I was just cruising through Viewpoint. If you're not familiar, we have Viewpoint in Nova Scotia, so it's similar to the Realtor.com, the LoopNet, all that stuff. But it's just the Nova Scotia MLS service. Basically, Viewpoint just pulls from all the different Realtor.coms, all the different MLS services, and it's just one consolidated, almost like a Google search kind of type thing, if you want to call it. Yeah, so that's when we're referring to Viewpoint. That's what we're talking about. So looking on there, and then again, Ian's direction of like, yeah, yeah, Janelle, like go, come up with a list of expired listings. So I did, and just drawing around Halifax, the being specific with it, the area that I was looking for, and then looking for the type of property, and looking for multifamily properties, and then looking for expired listings. And then I think I found the owner information on that one, found it was owned by a corp, then just looked up on the Nova Scotia Registry of Joint Stocks. Hey, it's owned by this corporation. Found one of the directors of it. Literally, like this is just me at home, like on a Thursday night. Like I'm just kind of doing whatever here. I'm not going crazy with it. Just go on Facebook, type in, Joan. Let's call it her name was. Look up Joan and send her a message and say like, "Hey, I saw that you own this building in Dartmouth. Looks like it was listed on MLS. Like it's expired now. I'm not sure if you're still interested in having a conversation about selling it." And yeah, that's the rest is history on that one, and that's how we bought one of our apartment buildings.
Man, that's so creative, and that's the beauty of this. Like, you worked pretty hard to find this deal. Like, you make it sound like it was nonchalant, but like that
Yeah.
was impressive. And
Oh,
all of the
thanks.
deals that you've told me about, like they've been impressive. That means you're going above and beyond. You're not just, like Ian said at the start, you're not just going on Viewpoint, looking, being discouraged by prices, and then giving up. It's like you are actively searching ways to take these deals down. So anyone that's even listening to this podcast right now about how to find deals, you are taking that first step to learn and educate yourself, because there's many ways you can tackle this, and we just touched on a few. There's even more. Like, one of my a good way is, it correlates back to just the networking. If you know a lot of superstar real estate agents, they get pocket listings. So a pocket listing is just like a deal that comes their way from a seller, but it's not listed yet. So like, if this agent knows you and knows that you are looking for this kind of property and you are able to close, they'll bring it to you before anybody else, and you get first dibs.
Yeah,
So
and that's great. It's still like kosher. It's following all the regulations, like all the rules. Like the agent's still getting compensated. It's still going through. I think like using their purchase and sale agreements and everything like that. It's still very much like above table. It's just again like what I was saying earlier. Like first bird gets the worm. Like I feel like this is kind of be like my sort of like theme for the episode. Yeah, first person at it, like that's your chances of winning are just so much higher. And just to jump back to looking for deals, just being consistent with it. And I think kind of looking back to like my mindset back then, because that's over a year ago now that I found this apartment building, just kind of being determined with it and almost not getting into that kind of not really analysis paralysis, but not overthinking it. I like again, I'm just like I don't know, like I'll look them up on Facebook. Like I'll just do this and kind of having fun with it too. Yeah, I think that was a big part of it as well. yeah, just being really determined with it and kind of getting a little creative and yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Or doing it
So I got,
all, you know? Like if
yeah,
you do a little bit of every single thing that we talk about, it's inevitable that you
Yeah,
will find a deal.
and it just
as
takes
long as
one. It
you
takes
are doing
one,
it.
like
Yes.
yeah. And do it more than once. Don't like shoot your shot once and then be like Kijiji doesn't work. And it's like, yeah, you have to do it all the time. Like you have to make it into a habit.
Send
Um,
one letter and they don't respond and give up.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also like in don't get we can I think we can talk for a long time about the not so good responses that we get about letters. I
Yeah.
think
And it's my phone
think
number typically on the letter, so I take those
yeah.
calls. And because I'll just, yeah, another note is that with we do it with the property online, so we're actually filling in homeowners' names and their addresses, and like some people are
Just
like,
to
"How did you get my information?" And
just to clarify, I think there's actually a button if you go on Viewpoint. It's like find owner information button. I'm almost positive that's a thing.
no, there is.
Um,
That's how I first
yeah,
started. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, just
So
just to
for
clarify that this isn't any sort of like illegal
no,
activities.
no,
This
for
is very much
$10,
a
yeah,
public thing.
yeah. For 10, I think it's about $10 on Viewpoint, you can look up the owner's information, what their name is, what their mailing address is. And yeah, so you go around, you find a house you really like, you can pay the $10, you get their name, you get their information, and you can send them a letter that's addressed to them. And now again, for as many properties that we have bought, we've had equally as strongly worded responses as to why we're doing a disservice to whatever or illegal or
all
yeah. So it's
all I'm hearing when you're talking about that $10 for the low price of $10, you can have a stranger yell at you and curse you out.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
like
That's
all I hear.
literally what it's
Is
like.
it
So
$10 a person or $10 a month?
no, $10 a lead on that,
A
and then
lead?
again you can
Man,
yeah you could get
I didn't know
into
this.
oh yeah yeah.
I'm learning
So
something on our pod right now.
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
We're not just
Yeah,
spreading information to listeners. We're spreading really just
to hosts.
this is just free time for Ian, Janelle, and Manny to chat real estate and learn from each other, and hopefully someone
Yeah,
learns something too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
yeah. So, yeah, in conclusion, I would say that we've tried a bunch of different ways and we've had some success on some. I'm sure we have even ways that we've tried that we haven't been successful on, but if we were to, hammer down harder on those areas, we'd probably have much higher success rates on those. But again, for anyone looking to buy their first property, their first investment property, or their next property, there's no one simple way to do it if you're truly looking for that good deal. Like it's like there's hundreds of homes out there right now you could just go buy. But if you're looking to, add to the value, create wealth, all that good stuff, like the key really is getting a lot more creative with it and trying some of these other methods. So yeah. So I think that's all for us today. Thank you guys for listening.
These are just some of the ways that we found deals. If people want to share ways that you found deals, we would love to hear them. You can send us a message on our Instagram to Refined Real Estate NS. Yeah, you can comment down below. Yeah, send us a message. We would love to hear from you and hear how you're finding deals, especially in today's market. Yeah, and if you have any fun deal finding stories, we would love to hear them as well.